Rising rigs are humming down in the fire I fight. Sharks are bleeding, traders running, I stay through the night. Buy the dip, ride the spike, volatility.
Hey, I'm Will, and this is Pellish Crypto and More, and we're going to review my trades in the stock market for today. And this particular stock, Rackspace, I have some experience with in the past. So this is going to be one of my first trades, and this is the best one of the day, okay? Now, my goal is always to make a minimum of $50 a day if I'm trading stocks, or even crypto for that matter, if I can. Currently, you can see the market is still open at 2:19 p.m. on the 7th of May, 2026. But we're going to get this out of the way here, and I'll use it again as we talk about my trades. Now, I've had some experience with this stock in the past, and it has an MOU or a Memorandum of Understanding with AMD. Anything tied to Palantir, NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, the big ones, you're probably going to have an easier time trading, especially on good days, okay? I have a rule, 2 cents and up is when I sell. Sometimes it's as little as a penny. I look for those little quick pops. Somebody says, well, what does Ross Cameron do that? I'm not Ross Cameron. I don't do like Ross Cameron. I don't follow Ross Cameron's rules. Ross Cameron doesn't follow Ross Cameron's rules. So let's look at the first one here, okay? I took 2 trades in the first go, okay? And as you can see, I had the first one where I was in 500 right there, 278. Well, that's not exactly the first one, but we'll go a little bit before. We were in at 280 and out at 287. I had 669 shares. Why such oddball shares? Well, listen, when you start out with things like this and you have a history with it and you know that it popped and it hit your alert 3 times in the morning, you always check that chart. This is why we have alerts up in the corners and that we set, off to the side someplace. Now, and that's what I did here. I was comfortable with that. So I did, about 7 cents on almost 700 shares. Now, you guys can do the math on that. 7 times 7 is 49. So that was almost $50 on the first go. Okay? And you can go to dinner on that. You can eat on $50. Then I did it again because, well, why not? It's a rinse and repeat thing. If we can get a little bit more money, you're fine. And so, see, I jumped in here, right? And I exited here. It's the same concept. This breaks it down a little bit more. These are more whole dollar type situations. But if you're looking at, so you have 79, 80, 81, 82. That's 4 cent pop. 4 cents on 500. 4 times another 20, $25. So I'm up right there, almost $70, right? That's awesome. Now, when I go back over here, look again, I took a trade here and I added a little bit more here. Took a couple of them and I kind of combined them a bit. And so the 289, I got my money on the 2 cents, but the 50, I kind of, you can see it wasn't that great, right? The 50, it wasn't that great. Overall, this is where we ended up at. And if you see where I got out at, you'd be all right. But I did pretty good for this overall. So this trade, it wasn't so hot. Although I felt kind of comfortable that I was going to take it on this pullback here and it was going to rise up. It did, but it was taking longer than I liked. So, as you can see, the exit was 268 on the 2 on there. So, I got 2 cents on that. And then the exit on the 50, it wasn't the greatest, okay? It's kind of confusing me a bit, but you get the point. It was a possible thing. This wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Don't get me wrong. We tried again up here at the top. And so I ended up having a little bit more here. As you can see, I ended up buying 387 of them at 437, and I was out at about 441. So at this point, I'm doing pretty good, right? I'm close to $100 for the day. We got one more here. Maybe this is the 475 of them right there. So I got 3 cents off of that one. At this point now, we're above $4. I'm getting very, very cautious. So I bought one of the last trades at 83 and at 445, and I ended up selling it at 434, and that was my loss for the day for this one in particular. It didn't really work out, but if I would have hung on a little longer, it wouldn't have made much of a difference. It didn't really come back above that. It didn't really recover through the course of the day, as you can see in the 5-minute. But the last one I did here, spent the last of my money, 22 shares at 398, right? And I see, I bought it there and I sold it at the 401, like I said. So we got a couple pennies. That's number one. Familiarity, I'll tell you, does not save you from stocks. It is something that, just because you think you know a stock, you don't. And I had a stock yesterday, Easy Go, that I made money on, and today it's worth like 8 cents. And I wasn't trading it at 8 cents. I was trading it closer to $3. So that was the ticker, by the way, Easy Go. Take a look at that once. I wouldn't do it unless you're a complete, absolute bottom feeder. So we're going to look at my second trade for the day here. And, it's kind of neat because what I see here, I was doing a test trade, and I've had experience this stock before, the SEGG, which is Sports Entertainment Gaming, GI here. All right. And you can see the volume still is kind of slow at this moment. It's really not moving much. So I attempted to get in here with, 250 total, right? I bought it. I sold it at the same thing. You can see I got 200 out there, and the last 48 roughly. So it's 250 total, like I said. And I really just kind of broke even. It was actually, I took a loss of like 17 cents or something of that nature on this thing. It just didn't have the momentum. As you can see, later in the day, it popped to 155. And it was after 9:30, and for me, sometimes patience is, I've got a lot of it, but this one wasn't having it. The number one thing I do all the time is I make sure that I have all my positions closed out at the end of the day or before the end of the day, so I can start back over on a cash account at 9 p.m. Using Moomoo. It's like clockwork. So we're going to move on to the next stock. One of the other trades I made today, which is, it looks like 5 in total, was OSG, Octave Specialty. They own Assurance, the insurance company. That's primarily their thing. As you can see, it's not really moving now too much, but we'll review the trades. And as you can see, I grabbed about $5 from these guys. And the last trade was at 578. So I did one late last night at 570, or actually, I wouldn't call it really late. Close to 9:30 last night as a test trade. I bought 10 of them. And then I turned around and sold it for 5 cents higher. So I got 50 cents on the trade. I felt that this might be something. It was listed as number 2 last night, overnight. I went back here again on the open, okay, and then I took a big chance here, right here, okay. So a total of 200 altogether at 577, and then I was out at 579. As you can see, it really wasn't a huge mover. And for the last trade, I tested one more out here, 50 at 578, and I was out at 580. It just didn't have the momentum that you would think it should have to go back above 6. It did make it above 6, and it's back above 6 again. But for something that is up 43% on the day, it just didn't feel right. And I did, like I said, these were test trades, and you can see the high float and the free float. They're not what I like. I like things that the floats are 20 million or less. They have the aptitude of moving a lot quicker. A lot of people are familiar with Aiken because this had a big boom not that long ago, within the last couple weeks. This thing was a rocker. As you can see here, when I move this out of the way, I grabbed about $11.50 off of it. I was doing small sizes, so let's drag it all the way back, and you'll see what I mean. Okay. The first one I did was a buy and sell real quick as a test, right? You can see I got it at $38.79. I made a quick couple of bucks on 5 shares. It was out at $39.12. The next one I bought it here, and I bought, as you can see, a total of like 20 or 10, right? And then I added a few more, along the way. I think it come out to like 15 total. And then I added like one more here. And then, of course, I sold it up here. So if we do the math, 38.07, 37.07, okay? We'll bring that up. So they're a buck apart, right? I bought one. So 38.07 plus 38.11 plus, what was it, 37.01. 37.01. You have a total of 113 divided by 3. Your cost average is $37.73, and I was out at $38.25. So, a little over $1, close to $1 there on 15 of them. Like I said, I went small. And then I jumped in and jumped out here on another 5, as you can see there. I jumped in and jumped out here on 10, and I did it on a 20-cent margin, and then I pretty much put this thing to rest. The free float is $500,000. The total float is $18 million, so it's not a bad stock. It was just a pre-market mover, and to me, I had traded it in quite a few weeks, so I wasn't entirely comfortable with the trade going in there, and with the price point, I was trying to conserve something for rack space later, which I was all about. So this just, currently we're sitting at what, 34.30. This could pop at any time if somebody wanted to trade it. As you can see, there's a nice gap between the two, and best of luck to the person that trades it. My last trade here that I'm going to talk about, or the trade that one of them I did, was NNBR or NN Inc. I pulled a whopping $4.60 off of this. Okay, no big deal. As you can see, it's up 11%, and a lot of people are impressed by 11%. You can see there's a little movement on here still, not a ton of movement. Went all the way up to $3 today. So let's go back here and find where I was at, and I took a couple small trades on it. It wasn't that high up on the list when I found it. Let's see, we took this trade at 309 last night, about the same time as the other one. There we go, 308, right? 10 shares, quarter after 9. And I took a penny on, so I took 10 cents off as a test trade. It wasn't a huge big deal. It just wasn't happening there. Then I went back again here at 150 shares early this morning at 409, at 302, and I was out at 305. This one, you saw it was a little higher. I thought it was going to go a little higher. It just kept sliding here, and it did kind of rebound here, 307, but it really never truly recovered through the course of the rest of the day. And that's pretty much it, guys. And that's it, pretty much, guys. So, with that said, that is the trades for the day. And if we do this right now, you can see this one's all over the map. My best one, though, was RXT. I have to admit that. Hands down, we were looking at other things like feed that were out there. And so, it's been an interesting day. I'll be back tomorrow, or later tonight, actually, for my watch list and what I'm going to be watching, after 8 p.m. for the morning. and we'll post that up. I also have a mining video coming up on a home miner that will potentially have a 10-minute lottery ticket on Bitcoin. I've had several of those videos, but when I get a new one, I show you guys. So on that note, I'm going to have a word from a sponsor, and we'll be seeing you on the next one, guys. Before I forget, this is kind of what my week is shaping up like, between two accounts sitting on here, and as you can see, $140 is nothing to laugh at for the week. It is looking pretty good right now. It's 2:49 p.m. So now we're going to go on to that sponsor. So thanks again, guys. So far, so good. I'm not bragging, but I keep things simple. Base hits compound. They will make you a winner. You don't need to make thousands a day to be successful when you're trading. Just stating the facts. Hey friends, Will here from PelishCrypto&More. When you guys are out looking for big boy ASICs to bring in some real big hash rate, head on over to megaminer.market. That's right. So if you're looking for pricing, they give you an updated price list on the daily from where it ships from. And you'll never pay any tariffs whatsoever. As far as that's concerned, most of these ship stateside, new and used. If you want to go learn.megaminer.market, you have more information about them over there. If you're looking to contact them, you can use Telegram as it's listed here. I regularly work with Alex or Nick. No question about it. You can click on the About tab and you can talk to Nick or Alex or even Trenton if you want. Abe, any of the guys, they're very super helpful. They can also provide you with hosting if that's something you're interested in. So check out megaminer.market today for not only your big boy ASICs, but some of your home mining ASICs as well, like the AlphaPex DG1 Home and some of the smaller Canon products as well.